Good morning, everyone. We'll get started here in about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, I have disabled the waiting room, so hopefully everybody can join if they need to. We'll get started in about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, let me make sure there's nobody waiting in the waiting room. Doesn't look like there is. We'll wait about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Okay, it is a little after 10 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Emily Monroe, and I'm with the EdTech Department with Moore Public Schools. And today we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for early childhood teachers as they begin building out their courses in Canvas. Now, initially this was set as an early childhood focused training, but if third grade teachers join in, that's wonderful as well, because I think that third grade teachers might be setting up their Canvas courses in a similar fashion as early childhood teachers, since they are self-contained, teaching all subjects in the classroom. So that is completely okay if you're a third grade teacher, and it is completely okay if you're an instructional support, if you are Indian Ed, ELL, media specialist, counselor, that's okay too. Your situations will be slightly different, and there are focused trainings for instructional support, media specialist counselors, and there are focused trainings for specials teachers too, for your music, PE, STEAM, and art. But it's okay if you are one of those teachers and you just want to join in and see how an early childhood classroom could be set up in Canvas. Now, this is going to be a 1-hour training, so it will not be very in-depth, but I will touch on some tips and tricks. And there will be another early childhood training. I believe it's going to be at the end of July. And we'll add some more to that later, but they will both be very similar trainings. So I just wanted to let you know what to expect, and we'll kind of, I'll cover the basics of what we're going to go through here in just a few minutes today. Just a few housekeeping notes. Please keep your microphones muted. We have over 70 people in this training today, so I'd prefer that you not ask questions verbally, but rather put your questions in the chat. Michelle Hammond is supporting us today in this training, and she will help answer your questions in the chat if she can, and she might be adding to our discussion today as well. I've added her as a co-host, so she should be able to help if we, have any questions. She might be able to add to that. Let's see. I'm going to share an evaluation link with you at the end of this session so that you can get your PD point for attending today's training. I noticed some of you are putting your first and last names in the chat. That's totally okay, but we realized that was a very difficult way of keeping track of PD points, so we're actually using a Microsoft form link. So you will need to still click the link and fill out the form. It's just a few questions, one of them being your email. That way we can make sure that our secretary emails you the certificate of your point, because it is up to you now to keep track of your own professional development points, since we no longer use Thrive in our district. So make sure at the end of this session that you click the link that we are going to share with you so that you can be sure to get your PD point for attending today. Okay, I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we'll get started with what we're going to talk about today. So today we are going to talk about some tips and tricks for getting started in Canvas for early childhood teachers. But like I mentioned earlier, that also includes third grade, or any teachers can really attend and watch today. One thing that I want to emphasize is, as you're learning in Canvas, it's really important that you explore all of your resources. You experiment in your own practice or sandbox course, and expand your way of thinking. It's really important because we're all getting a little bit outside of our comfort zones, having to learn how to teach in a digital environment. And we don't know what to expect in the fall. So everyone is feeling a little apprehension. We don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know how we're going to be teaching our students. And really, frankly, it's probably going to be a blended it could be fully digital, but it could be blended. It could be a variety of scenarios. So we've got to be prepared. And that's why we adopted Canvas as a district. We initially adopted it for our high school students because we were going to one-to-one, and they needed a learning management system where they could keep their work organized, and it would be easy for the teachers to administer work to them. But we realized that it would be a great resource if we did have to switch to a digital learning environment, even for our elementary. And so we've adopted it for our entire district now, all grade levels, as a way that you can administer your lessons, your material, your content that you teach with on a daily basis, and your students can access that from home, and your parents can access it from home. So we're really having to rethink how we use some of our traditional teaching techniques and how we can apply them to that new digital environment. And honestly, we're figuring out a lot of it as we go. There are other school districts across the state, across the nation, that are starting to adopt Canvas for elementary. It's a little bit of a new ground for a lot of us. figuring out how to use this in an elementary environment and making it suitable for our little ones, especially who are non-readers, for our special ed students. We've got to figure out ways to make it suitable for all. And we are figuring it out as we go. And we're figuring out different things. All of the tools that we teach with, our textbooks, the tools, the websites that we use, the videos that we use, the PowerPoints, the smart notebook files, we're having to figure out each one and figuring out how to apply them as we teach throughout the day. And not knowing exactly if you're going to be in your classroom teaching from the smartboard, or are you going to be at home teaching from your computer at home, and we don't know how that will be, and it might be a little bit of both. And so please understand, we are not going to have all the answers right away. We're trying to figure it out as we go. And so I encourage you, if you have questions, let us know. There might be a scenario that we haven't thought of yet, that we've been like, oh, I'm not sure how to handle that situation yet. How do we apply that, particular type of a file? Keep us informed of your questions so we can. And be patient with us as we work through them. We are reaching out to other EdTech coaches all over the state as well, too. We're all trying to figure things out together. How is this going to work with Infinite Campus? How is it going to work with Clever and our textbooks? How is it going to work with Seesaw? We're all trying to figure out these solutions, and just know that we're all in it together. We're trying to find tips and tricks to help each other. And so use the resources that are at your disposal. Reach out to us, attend the trainings that we're offering, but also use your Canvas resources. If you've attended any of our Canvas trainings, then we've heavily encouraged you to use the Canvas help button when you get logged in. Search the Canvas guides for all kinds of PDFs with typed out instructions and screenshots on how to do things, and use the Canvas Training Services portal. There are a lot of wonderful videos, learning pathways, webinars, live webinars that you can attend. They have a very extensive training portal that they have available to all of us. And so use those Canvas resources. And then also reach out to your community of professionals that are sharing content online. There are a lot of social media groups out there that are sharing some wonderful tips and tricks. I've learned some wonderful tips and tricks from them myself just in the past few days. And so please use those materials that are at your disposal. Reach out to the community around you and online community as these teachers are all figuring it out together. And understand that we are all kind of learning different areas. Our department, for instance, the EdTech department, we're each offering different trainings. We're each kind of tackling different questions and different scenarios. So if I may not know the answer to a question for you, I might offer, I might guide you to one of our other members of our team who's working on that at this moment. We're each working on different scenarios, and sometimes somebody on our team hasn't even addressed that, and we might offer you guidance from a professional who's out in that social media community. So we're just all going to kind of lean on each other. And when we don't know it ourselves, we're going to lead you on to someone else who might, or lead you on to a resource in that Campus training portal or in the Campus help guide. So just feel, I guess my main point to you is it's not all figured out and we're figuring it out as we go. And we're trying to make it as doable as possible, but understand that things might change along the way, especially once we sink in the fall and we see how all of our quarterly sections roster in from Infinite Campus. We might have to make some changes. We might have to readjust. And so what we're training you this summer is kind of a little bit of, hey, let's get started feeling comfortable with it, but be patient and understanding and knowing that we might make some changes. We might have to. We're all just sort of figuring it out. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. What we're going to talk about today is a suggestion of how to lay out your modules. Then we're also going to talk about how you can build out content using pages, assignments, and quizzes, and build out content that's suitable for your students, especially early childhood where you may have a lot of non-readers and you're going to need to use a lot of visuals. And so I'm going to briefly touch on how you can use some of those visual elements as you build out those pages, assignments, and quizzes. And then finally, I'm going to briefly talk about home pages, because there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm and creativity out there circling around the concept of home pages. And there's so many different ways of creating them. I'm not going to dive into that training of how to create a home page, all the interesting ways that you can, but just know there will be some training coming up. One of our EdTech team members is working on a training on how to do a Bitmoji homepage. And we have some resources already in our campus training course on how to create a homepage using canva.com. So there's different resources out there, and I'll briefly talk to you about it a little bit today, and I'll show you that kindergarten demo that I created the homepage for and just kind of how I did that. So I'll briefly touch on that because it can be very complex, but it can also be very simple. So those are the things we're going to talk about today. It's not going to be everything. I know it would be wonderful if we could dive in deep, but we have an hour. So I'm just going to kind of briefly touch on how I feel like tips and tricks that might help you as you're building out your courses for early childhood. So, okay, let me get back to where I'm going. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is modules. If you've attended our Canvas trainings, which I hope you have, but if you haven't, make sure you go and attend some, because this training right here is not going to satisfy all of the knowledge that you need to know for Canvas. I heavily encourage you to attend other Canvas trainings. But one of the things that we talk about in one of those Canvas trainings is modules. And modules is really what we consider your digital lesson plan book. It's where you're going to build out your schedule in a way and what you do each day. And in the early childhood department, our coordinators have been trying to figure out what would be the best way to organize your modules. Is it better to do it by day? Is it better to do it by week? Or is it better to set up a module as a whole unit or a chapter? And the early childhood coordinators have decided that they feel like daily might be the best way. They've been reaching out to other teachers across the district, and most of the teachers really felt like a daily schedule was the best way for them to set up their modules, because that's how they work in their lesson plans. They build out one day at a time. And so I'm going to switch over and show you an example of how to do that, and show you a little bit about how you could create a template that you could duplicate each day as you're building out your lessons. So this is sort of an example right here of what the early childhood coordinators have created based upon teacher input. Most early childhood teachers do some kind of morning work, maybe have some sort of calendar morning time. Then they work on their literacy, their phonics, spelling wonders, and stations. Then they might have a story time or journal time. They might do some math with whole group, and then math with independent practice. And then they'll also have some science and social studies. Now, it doesn't have to be in that exact order. Those are just examples of what can be done each day as they surveyed and talked to different teachers across the district. This was a compilation of what those different teachers were doing throughout each day. So those are headers that we put within that module, and I'm going to show you how that looks. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to log into Canvas and show you how that can look there. So let me go ahead and switch over in just a minute. Okay. All righty. Okay, I am logged into Canvas now, and this is my dashboard. And I have a couple different practice courses that I've been playing around in. I hope all of you have at least one practice course or sandbox or whatever you want to call it, your master plans, whatever you want to call it. I hope you have at least one that you're playing around in, but you can have more than one if you want to. And then also, I heavily encourage you to enroll in the NPS Canvas training course. And so before I dive in and start talking about modules, I'm going to backtrack just a minute and show you how to enroll in that course and how to start a new course and where to go get some help. So if you don't have a practice course started yet and you're on your dashboard, you need to look over to the right here and look for a button that says Start a New Course. And you click that and you give your course a name. You can call it your plan book, your master course, your practice course, your sandbox, whatever you want to call it. It's what you're going to play around in this summer and experiment in. But it can also be a place where you start to build out your lesson plans. And then whenever Infinite Campus syncs with Canvas in the fall, you will be able to use all of those lessons and copy them over into those actual courses when they start showing up from Infinite Campus. So just know you can have a sandbox course, then you could also create a master plan book or a master course or whatever you want to call it. But this, just give it a name, then click create course. And it should show up. You should have that available to you. Actually, it'll take you right inside that course. Then you've got to get back to your dashboard to see the actual course card. I've given these cards images. This one just has a color, and that's part of our training that we offer if you attend the Canvas training, so I'm not going to go into that today. But one thing I do want to emphasize is the help button. Please make sure you go and search the Canvas guides right here underneath this little panda if you want to go and research and find PDFs of typed out instructions on how to do things. The Canvas guides are amazingly helpful. I've used them extensively. So use them, make use of it, find answers to your questions. It's simply a search box and you type in your question and it will give you answers. Like today, we're going to talk just briefly about modules, but if you want to learn more about modules or creating a course or whatever, you type it in and you will get all kinds of PDFs of how to do things. What are modules, how to view modules, how to, mark a module as item as done, just all kinds of things you can dive in and learn. Then the other thing I want you to see is the training services portal. That is right down here, kind of at the bottom of your help menu. Training services portal. You've got to get signed into that. So as soon as you click it, it will ask you to authorize. You click authorize and go through the tutorial so you can learn how to use their training services portal. I'm not going to go through it right now. I'm going to close out that tutorial, but I just want you to be aware there are lots of resources. This is where you can go and sign up for live webinars that Canvas provides each day. This is where you can go and find videos of how to do things. This is where you can go to find a learning pathway. A learning pathway is a step-by-step pathway that kind of teaches you and builds upon that knowledge. If you haven't signed up for anything yet in the training services portal, I encourage you, once you get logged into it and authorized, go to the learning library, which is this tab kind of right in the middle. And then I want you to use this search box and I want you to search for K-12 First Day Ready. That is one very basic learning pathway that would be great for you to get started with. And it looks like this. Now, I don't want this to be the only one you do. Go on and observe more, go through more learning pathways, find more videos, go find all kinds of resources. But at the bare minimum, at least do this K-12 First Day Ready. And so when you see this, you'll have a button that says preview. And when you click preview, it will show you the 6 steps of this pathway. I've already enrolled in it, but once you preview it, you will need to click enroll. And that will get you started. And you can go through these one step at a time. It maybe takes an hour, maybe less to go through each step, but there's videos, there's typed out instructions, and you do it at your own pace. So I encourage you to make use of that and at least, at the bare minimum, go through that K-12 First Day Ready pathway. But like I said, there's lots of other resources, tons of videos that you could explore and browse through and go watch to help you learn all of the elements of Canvas, because Canvas is very big. There's so much that can be done in it. It's hard for us to teach you everything in the short trainings that we have available to you. So we want you to go use this training portal to learn as much as possible. And then finally, from our EdTech website, and I'm going to show you how to get there. From the district website, use the flyout menu and go to EdTech, which is over here kind of on the left side of the flyout menu. And from the EdTech website, you're going to look for PD by the pool or couch graphic. You might have to flip through this slideshow of graphics to find the right one. Click that green plus sign, and that will take you to our summer PD trainings that we're offering on Canvas this summer. You scroll down, you'll see the calendar of all the trainings that are available, which you guys must have seen in order to click this link. But I just wanted to remind you that we will be offering more early childhood training and another one at the end of July. We have upper elementary, specials, all kinds of different trainings available to you. And if you haven't already signed up for one of these training courses, go ahead and sign up for one of them just by clicking on it, and it will get you enrolled in it. Once you enroll in that, it will show up on your dashboard, just like it's right here on my dashboard. Now, I don't want you to do that first. I want you to go start a new course first, because if you go enroll in the training course first, it will think that you're a student, and then you won't have teacher privileges in Canvas. But that's okay if that happens. Just email edtech@moreschools.com and we will fix your account for you. But if you haven't already enrolled in that Canvas training course, please start a new course first and create a practice course for you to play in. Then once you do that, Canvas recognizes that you're a teacher and you can go in and enroll in the training course, and it won't affect anything. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and kind of talk to you about modules. So first I want to show you this kindergarten demo that I have created. Some of you may have already seen it in one of my past trainings. So I was just playing around trying to see, is it possible to make Canvas elementary friendly? And I figured if we used a lot of graphics and visuals, we could make it elementary friendly. So I created this homepage just using some pictures from canva.com, which is not associated with Canvas. And then I linked each one of these little graphics to parts of my modules. So I want to go back to modules because that's what I really want you to see. Modules is where you are going to organize basically your digital plan book. So here I have a template for what my daily activities might be for each day of the week. And I know some days are different than others. So I have, you know, each one looks just a little bit different. One day might be science, another day might be social studies. Then I keep this template and I duplicate it when I'm ready to go in and create the actual lessons for that day. Because this is just a template of a module with headers. There's not any assignments, there's not any content in there yet. This is just headers. Then when I wanted to build it out, I go in and I add the material that I want to add. I can add in a quiz, I can add in some pages, I can add in an assignment, and I nest those underneath those particular headers of what we're doing. So here's a module for Monday, and I have my morning meeting time as my header, and then I added in a little quiz there. And then for literacy, I have a literacy assignment and I have some story time. Then I did some writing practice. And so I just sort of organized my content within my module there. And when I linked it to my homepage, my Monday graphic, I actually linked it to the first thing listed in my module. I didn't link it to the module itself. I linked it to the first item listed. The first item listed in my Monday module was my Monday morning quiz. So you'll see when I go back out to home, my home page, and I click on Monday, you will see that it takes me to that Monday morning quiz. So my students don't have to actually see my modules because my non-readers they're not going to understand any of this. This is, you know, that's just going to look confusing to them. So I figured with your early childhood, it would be good to have a homepage, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. And your homepage could link to the actual content within each module. Okay? So let me show you how to create a template. I'm going to go back out to this practice course that I have. This is a new one I've just been working on. I called it Master Course. So I don't really have anything built out in it yet. I was just playing around. What if I did a weekly module? What if I did a daily module? I'm just playing around and experimenting, which is what I really want you guys to do too, okay? But here's how you get started. You're in your modules page. You simply click Add Module. So let's say we want to make a daily module, and this will be our template that we copy for each day as we're planning out. So I'm going to call it template. Or I could call it to copy. You call it whatever you want. You know, it could be your copy piece. I'm going to call it template. That makes sense to me. So I'm going to add that there. Now there's nothing here in this module. It's empty. But if I want to add headers, I click this little plus button within that particular module banner there. So when I click that plus button, Now I can go in and I can add headers. I'm not ready to put my assignments and quizzes in yet. I just want to put some headers. So I'm going to use this drop-down menu and I'm going to click text header. So now I might have, let's see, maybe first thing we do is morning work. That might be a header, so I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to add another header. Let's say maybe I have calendar time. And then also for a daily activity, we have literacy. So here you see I'm just adding headers because I just want to create the framework, or in other words, the outline of what my plan book looks like each day, okay? So what I do with my kids each day. So then maybe we do also we have math or story time. So you're just going to add your headers like that, okay? And however you want to put it. Science and social studies. Okay, but let's say in literacy, I sometimes do phonics and spelling. Sometimes I do wonders. Maybe I just want to kind of add some little subcategories, subheadings. So if I wanted to do phonics and spelling, now I can drag this by grabbing the left side of it, drag it up there, and put it underneath the heading that I want it to be on. And if I want it to be indented, I can click these three little dots over here and increase indent. And you can continue to increase it if you want it to be indented even more. So you can adjust it, you can move it, you can also delete it. Let's say, oh, I changed my mind. You can remove it. So use those three dots to edit your header. Let's add another header. Maybe we want to do, this is where our wonders work is going to exist. So I'll have a wonders header and I want to put that underneath there. I can indent it. And let's say I wanted to add in literacy stations. Also, when you're adding your header from this page, you can select whether you want to indent it from here as well, instead of clicking the three dots. So I just wanted you to see that, okay? So let's say now I've got, obviously I could go in and add more subheadings because I can add something into math, I could put whole group, independent practice, you know, you could add all kinds of headings in here, subheadings. And reorganize it. You can move these around. Maybe you want to do story time at the beginning of the day. You can drag and drop and adjust how you want that to flow. Whatever order you put your day in, that's how your students are going to flow through that module. So think about the order. That's important because when you click the first item in that module, when you link it to your homepage, that's the first thing the students are going to be taken to. And each time they click next, it's going to progress them through the next item listed in that module in whatever order you have them placed in. The students will not see the headers. The headers are for your benefit, just so you can organize your lessons in the background here in the modules page, okay? What the students will see are the actual pages, quizzes, assignments. If you use discussions, that's what the students will see. They won't see the headers. That's just for you, okay? But this is how you would create your template. So now I have a template. Now let's say, okay, I'm ready to start my first day. Maybe, you know, when we get back to school, obviously when we start on Thursdays and Fridays, we don't usually deliver a lot of content. That's usually where we learn procedures, right? So maybe we will start actually going over content in Canvas on that following Monday. So now I want to duplicate my whole day. I click these three dots over here and for that particular module template, and I click duplicate. When I click duplicate, it creates a whole copy of that module. So now I can come in here and I can edit the name. Oops, I minimized it. See that little arrow there helps you minimize it and expand it. Click the three dots and I can edit. And I can give this a name. So I could say this is Monday, August. I don't know what the first day of school is going to be that Monday. I'm just going to put a question mark. You can decide, or you can say Monday, week 1. Maybe you want to do that. Week 1 of when you start teaching. But you could label it that way. And if you want to, you can lock this module so it won't be visible to the students until that specific day. Whenever you're teaching, maybe you start the 24th, so it'll be locked to the students. They won't be able to see it until the 24th. So now I've edited the name of that, and I've got that template. It's not going to be available for students to see until that specific day, but now I can go in here and I can add in my pages, assignments, and everything I want to. But I just wanted you to see how to start a template, how to add those headers in there, and then how to duplicate it. So if I wanted to build out my first week, I've got Monday, then I could go up here to this template again, duplicate it, and I can click edit on that copy, and I can name that Tuesday, week 1, okay? And then update. Now I can rearrange modules if I want to, just by simply dragging and dropping and moving them around, okay? You can also move them around by clicking the 3 dots and simply click Move Module. And when you click that, it tells you where you want to put it. So for instance, on my template, maybe I always want my template to be at the top, or maybe I always want it to be at the bottom. I can click those 3 dots, click Move, and I can tell it I always want it at the top, or I always want it at the bottom, or move it to where it's after another module or before another module. But you can do that. And there we go. So that's another way to move your modules around. Once you have your framework, your outlines created, now you're ready to go in and start adding pages, adding assignments, adding in the material that you are going to use to teach with each day. And so I'm going to switch screens a little bit before we go back and start adding stuff in. And I want to kind of talk to you about a few points that I want to discuss with you. So let me share a different screen with you. Okay. So what I wanted to kind of emphasize with you is about creating content. It's important to think about, as you're building out your lessons, use the tools that you normally use when you're teaching in the classroom. Do you teach with a PowerPoint? Do you teach by using some YouTube videos? Do you teach by using PDFs that you've printed out as worksheets and you've passed out to your students? Do you use images a lot? Do you put an image up on the board if you're teaching the students about the letter A? Do you use a lot of graphics? What do you use to teach with? And we need to put those tools and resources inside Canvas. Instead of having several tabs open on your computer projected up onto the smartboard, you're going to link all of those tools and embed all of those tools within your Canvas pages. And when you open them, they might open up in a new tab occasionally, but you're opening them from Canvas. And as you're teaching each day from the front of the classroom, your students will see how you are opening those different things up and how you're teaching from Canvas. And then if we have to switch to a distance learning scenario, or if there is a student in your class whose family has to be quarantined for 2 weeks, they will know how you navigate through your lessons in Canvas. So it's really important that you put the tools that you teach with in your Canvas course. Even if we don't ever have to switch to a distance learning model, it's great for your students to see how you teach from it every day. And then if they did have to be quarantined for some reason, they could follow along with your lessons each day because they will know how you navigate through it. So it's really important to build out your lessons using the tools you teach with on a normal basis. And like I said in one of my previous trainings, if you've ever attended one, you're still going to teach basically the same way you've always taught. We still want you to be the amazing teachers that you are. And if we're back into the brick and mortar environment in our classrooms, you're still going to be up there engaging with your students, providing hands-on manipulatives and materials and working verbally with them in an exchange with whole class environment, small group environment, one-on-one situations. You're still going to have that dynamic learning environment for your students. If we had to switch to a distance learning model, we have to try to figure out a way to make that dynamic learning environment work in a digital environment, which it's not going to be perfect, but we want to do the best that we can. So you're going to upload the images that you use when you're teaching from the smartboard. We're going to upload those PDFs when you get ready to pass out a worksheet to your students. Go ahead and have that worksheet up on the board so that the students from home can also see what you passed out in the classroom that day. If you're going to share a YouTube video with your kids, we want to embed that YouTube video into your Canvas page. Also, I want to show you how you're going to practice recording yourself giving verbal instructions on things. Of course, if you're in the classroom, you're verbally talking to your students. But if you have some kiddos that are quarantined, or if we switch to that distance learning scenario, you're going to need to give them those verbal instructions in Canvas. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is when we're using those textbooks, we're going to add links to Clever. And because our students are going to go through Clever anyway to get to all of their textbooks, to get to Seesaw, to get to the resources that they're going to use, we want to encourage you to model for them how to access those textbooks through Clever. So if you're getting ready to do a Wonders lesson, you're going to put that link right there on your page that you're teaching from at the front of the room that day. And you're going to model for the students how you click on that link and it takes you over to Clever, and you show them how you go down to Wonders and you open up that particular lesson. That way, if they're at home, they see how that interaction works and they see the process of how to get to it. So you'll build that out into your pages. You may want to start learning how to use the Snipping Tool or Snippet, or taking screenshots and putting those little images into your pages. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. And then linking that to the Clever sign-in page. And also, if you like to use Seesaw with your students, we want to encourage you to put that link there in your pages to encourage the students to go to Seesaw to complete an activity. Now, on the topic of completing assignments and activities, they're not always going to complete all of their assignments in Canvas, especially if we're in the classroom. You're going to complete your activities and assignments face-to-face like you normally do. But we would like you to at least put one assignment or activity or quiz or something in Canvas each week and allow your students time to complete that activity. That way, if we had to switch to a distance learning scenario, they would at least know how to complete an activity in Canvas. That way you have a way of assessing their capabilities and assessing their growth and progress as you deliver new content, even in a digital environment. So we do want you to build out at least one assignment or activity in Canvas to start with, so the students can become familiar with how to complete those. But it's going to take you a little bit to figure out how to create assignments and quizzes. And so give yourself some time. And we know everybody's learning together, and it's going to take a little bit to figure that out. But just wanted you to keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, if we're in the brick and mortar environment, you're going to teach like normal. You're going to pass out those worksheets. You're going to give them hands-on activities. You're going to have whole class discussions. But at least once a week, whether by using your set of iPads or by taking your students to the computer lab, at least once a week, you need to give them an opportunity to actually submit an assignment digitally through Canvas. And so we'll talk a little bit about how you can build those out too. So I'm going to stop sharing those points. I just wanted to talk about those really quick before I move forward. And I'm going to share my other screen with you. So give me just a minute here. And I'm going to show you how to build out some of those assignments and activities. So let me share that screen with you. And we'll cover that really quick. Okay, so we talked a little bit about how to build out those templates, those modules. Now, within each module, each day, whatever you're working on, when you are ready to add a page or add an assignment or add a quiz, right to the right of that header for that particular module, you're going to click that plus sign, and you're going to use this drop-down menu box to choose what you want to add. Pages are great for adding just content. It's not an assignment, it's just a page where you could put, if you want the kids to watch a YouTube video, or we want to talk about certain letter sounds or whatever you want to do. You can build out a page. You could also build out an assignment where the students have to answer a question of some kind or provide some sort of evidence of their understanding. You could do a quiz. The difference between quiz and assignments is that Canvas has an auto grade feature built in with a quiz. Quizzes take a little bit more time to create because you have to put those answer choices in. And you have to tell Canvas which one is the correct answer choice and which ones are not. And so it takes a little bit more time to build them. But I would encourage you to learn quizzes at some point because it will save you a lot of time with grading since Canvas auto grades quizzes for you. I'm going to show you some examples of ones that I've created as I've been playing around. Here's just a simple page, and the page icon just looks like a piece of paper. The assignment icon looks like a piece of paper with a pencil. The quiz icon looks like a little rocket. So when you're in your module, you can tell what they are, if it's a page, an assignment, or a quiz, by looking at the little icon to the left of it. So I was just playing around a little bit last night, and I just created a page here. And I put in a video of myself, or actually I think this is an audio clip of me talking. And then I linked in a YouTube video. I embedded a YouTube video in there. On the assignment, so it could be something as simple as that. You could type out your content, or you could just verbally share content with them. On an assignment, let me see, I don't think I added anything in there. I put in a PDF of showing the students how to write the letter A. And then you could send them to a link to Seesaw and tell them how to go and practice writing the letter A. But there's different ways of building out your pages, your assignments, your quizzes. I want to take you to some other ones that, actually, let me go back in there. I just want to start from scratch and show you guys how to do that. So I want to show you this quiz also. Let me go to quizzes. I don't think I put it in a module yet, but I want to show you a sample of how you could use graphics in your pages, in your quizzes, in your assignments, however you want to. So here's an example of a quiz. Maybe this would be where you're assessing the student's understanding of color. I just took some snippets of color circles and I put in an audio clip. I don't think you can hear it.
Which circle is black?
So I asked the question, which circle is black? Because my non-readers are not going to be able to read this question, which circle is black, but I can add in my voice, which circle is black, and this is a multiple choice where they would pick which one. Or you could add in a verbal, I didn't add in a verbal one here on this one, but which picture equals 4. And I took snippets of, I actually got this from one of your flipbook assessments. I think this might be a kindergarten or pre-K flipbook assessment. And I just took, I used the snipping tool and took snippets of those and added those in as multiple choice options. So this is actual quiz that I created last night. And so I'm just gonna go in here and edit this really quick and kind of show you how I built that out. So let me go into September and I'll click edit. So here is this quiz that I created last night. I clicked edit in here so you can kind of see how it looks behind the scenes. So this is my details tab. I can give it a name. You could call it, I don't know, I think I was just typing in whatever the flipbook said, September assessments. And then you could decide if it's worth any points, who you want to assign it to. And you'll learn more about this in all the other Canvas trainings. But I'm going to go to the questions now because I want you to see how I added in a lot of those graphics. So right here, finding the color black is my first question. And when you want to add a question, you just simply click add new question right here. And you can give your question a name and you can decide what kind of question you want to make. I'm creating multiple choice questions for these visual questions for my non-readers because in the multiple choice options, I can actually put images, I can put my audio recording of myself, I can embed a lot into those. But I encourage you to play around with the other options too. But I like the multiple choice options. So I'm going to edit this one up here because I want you to see how that looks. So here, finding the color black, first you have the rich content editor for your question. I typed out the question, and then I clicked this little record upload media button right here. And I recorded. Like for instance, let me go down to this one, recognizing the number 4. I haven't put a video or an audio of myself, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Edit. So here I just typed it out, that you would click the record upload media. This box will show up. I'm going to turn it's not going to use my webcam anyway because I'm using it for Zoom. But if you didn't want to record a video of yourself, you just wanted audio, you would turn your webcam off if you're recording. And then you simply click start recording, and it will count down for you. You say, which picture equals 4? Click finish and save, and it puts your little audio recording right there into the question. So with the students, all they have to do is click play to hear your question. So this is great for those non-readers. Then in the answers is where I added in images. So in the possible answers, I clicked that little pencil for editing, and I have the rich content editor tools again. And if you're not familiar with those, go back and attend one of our training sessions, or use the Canvas guides, or use the Canvas training portal to learn about the rich content editor, because this is where all the magic is going to happen. This is where you can embed images, you can embed videos, you can embed PowerPoints, you can embed graphics, you can embed all the tools that you use to teach with every day using this rich content editor. And when I have the multiple choice option in quizzes, I can use the rich content editor for every answer option. So you put sounds in here. I could record audio again and have the kids listen to sounds, and I could have them look at pictures. So here I added in little snippets of pictures that I took snippets of from the flipbook assessments. So here's possible answer choices that I added in. And then I just simply click the little green arrow next to the one that is the correct answer. So I can show you how I added in an image very quickly, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. But what I did is I had the flipbook assessment. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I would have to share the screen with you guys again, but I basically used Snippet. I'm going to share the screen so you can see, because I want you guys to see it. So hold tight real quick, and I want to share that screen with you. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to share the whole screen because I want you to be able to see it. So hopefully you can. Hopefully you can see the color dots. So I just opened up the PDF of the flipbook for, I don't know if it's pre-K, I think, pre-K flipbook assessment. And this is where I took little snippets. I used the Snipping Tool. And I don't know if you guys have ever used the Snipping Tool before, but most Windows 10 devices have it, or sometimes it's called Snippet. I hope you can see it on my screen right now, but this is the Snipping Tool I opened. I simply clicked my Windows logo in the bottom left corner of my screen, and I typed in the word Snipping Tool, and it pulls it up for me. I added that to my toolbar because I use it every day. So it's down in my toolbar when I want to use it again. So when I click it and open it up, I get this here. I simply click New, and when I click New, I can highlight whatever I want to snip. So maybe I just wanted to snip one of these images on this screen. I just snip the image that I want to, and now I tell it to save it. So I say File, Save As, and I save that picture into a folder in my device wherever I'm going to use it, pull it from later to put into my Canvas page, okay? So I snipped a picture of something, I'm saving it. Like for instance, in my pictures folder on my computer, I have a folder called Canvas, and this is where I kind of put some of my images that I want to use for my course. So I'm saving that now. I give it a name. Might call this blue circle. You call it whatever you want. For each one, just be real descriptive with your naming so you know where they are and what they are when you're looking for them later when you want to put them in your Canvas course. Then when I go into my Canvas course, so let me start sharing that screen with you again. Sorry about this. It's very awkward switching back and forth to screens, but I want you guys to see how I do it. So let me share that with you. So then let's go back to that let's say, for instance, here, I want to add one more option answer. I can go down here and add another answer. And let's say I want to put in that blue circle as an option. So I come over here in my answer text box and I click the little pencil, which is edit. Now I have that rich content editor and I want to insert an image. So I'm going to click embed image and I'm going to upload that image that I just took a snippet of. So I click the Canvas tab because I want to upload it into Canvas and I want to put it into this course's files for this course. So I click course files, I tell it I want to upload. Then when I click upload, I go and look for that in my folder. Got to make sure I pick the correct folder. So I'm looking in my Canvas folder. Click that blue circle, which I already had it, but I just wanted you guys to see how to take a snippet. Now I click update. Make sure that there's alternate text listed. Usually it'll use the name of your picture, but this is for those accessibility options for students who are visually impaired. They need to hear what the name of that image is. This alt text gives it that naming. And then click update and it will add your image right in there as one of your options. And then you click done. And that's how you can put an image. You can put a video, you can put a sound, you can record sounds. Like if you wanted to ask the question, which one of these is the A sound? And each one of these answers, you could put a video of yourself making letter sounds. And so there's a lot of different ways that you could create assessments for your students. I just wanted you to see a lot of those options. Another one that I did one on rhyming. Let me go over to it really quick. Go to these quizzes. And I was just seeing how it would feel to do one verbally. So I created this rhyming words assessment using the quiz feature. And I just recorded audio of myself. So here's.
Which of these sets of words rhyme?
And for each.
Choose the set that has rhyming words.
And for each one of these options, choice options, I recorded another video. It's a lot of audio, a lot of audio for them to listen to.
Frog and dog.
So they could hear them. And then
frog and dog.
They could listen to each one.
Snake and rose.
And then pick which answer they think is most suitable. So it takes a little bit of creative thought, but there are ways to create assessments for our non-readers and our early childhood students in Canvas. We just have to use a lot of the rich content editor tools that are built into those questions. And so I wanted you to see how that could look in that assessment environment. So I'm going to switch now and stop talking about assessments, but I wanted you to see just briefly how that rich content editor can work. I wish I had more time to really dive in and show you guys how to add in a lot of those things, but at least you have kind of the gist of it. Please explore all of those resources that are out there for you and play around and experiment. And if you create things that other teachers might want to use, share those into the commons, into our More Public Schools commons, and then we can share with each other. Just like a lot of you have already done using Seesaw, you share a lot of activities into our district library and Seesaw. Share a lot of your creations in our More Public Schools commons as well, if you feel so inclined to do that, because it can really benefit a lot of other teachers out there. Instead of us all recreating the wheel over and over again, let's share the workload, and some of us create assessments for these and some of us create assessments for others, and then before you know it, we've got what we need to get through the year. I don't know, or at least a little bit of it, right? It's going to take a while to build all of that out, but please know at the beginning of this year, you don't have to have all of it created, right off the bat. It's going to take time, but just at least do one type of an assessment a week with your students, and understand this type of an assessment is possible for those non-readers. You can use Canvas with your non-readers. You just really want to put in those visuals. I'm going to go back to that kindergarten demo really quick because I wanted you to see how we link out to other activities. So I'm going to go into my modules because I want to show you an example of a literacy assignment where writing practice, actually, we put a link to Seesaw in there. So here's a pretend activity that Andre created for our kindergarten demo. He recorded a video of himself showing the students how to write the letter A. So he used the Google Chrome extension Loom, L-O-O-M, and he recorded a screencast. But Loom is not the only one. You could use Screencastify. There's other types of screencasting tools. We like Loom. It works well with Google Chrome. But I just want to show you how he did this really quick.
Hello everyone, today we're practicing making the letter A. So on your paper, here's what I want you to do. Remember, we're going to start at the bottom line.
Now he used classroomscreen.com, but you all have Seesaw accounts. So you could go into Seesaw and record yourself writing the letter A with the handwriting paper in the background. However you want to do it, you've got a lot of options available to you. But he showed them how to do the letter A. He also put a PDF of writing the how to draw the letter A in there. And then he has a link. So for this, the assignment is they click this link to go to Seesaw. And he just put a link to Seesaw in there. So click here to practice making A's in Seesaw. Now you could, when you put that link in there, it will take the kids to a login page. Fortunately, I was already logged in. Sorry. Let me show you how that looks so you can see what it looks like for students. It takes them to the login page if you link it to seesaw.com. The students have to select, I'm a student, and then they have to select Seesaw for Schools Clever Sign In. That's how they have to sign in because we have Seesaw through Clever, and that will take them to their account that's linked to your class. And you'll have to show them how to pick your class and then show them which activity, how to get to the activities folder and which activity you want them to use. So it actually might be a good idea, instead of just a link, take a snippet of what that activity looks like in Seesaw, you know, the little thumbnail of what it looks like, put that on the page and then link that to the sign-in page. That way they know what to go look for when they get to their Seesaw account and they go to their activities tab. So that's a little bit confusing, but I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on that. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about home pages. So I'm going to switch my screen over to that and just briefly mention a few points. I know I'm running low on time. It's so hard. I want to cover so much material with you guys and I can't with just an hour, but I'm just gonna keep going. We might go a smidgen over, but I'm gonna go as fast as I can, okay? So the main points I wanted to talk to you about with home pages is this. There are a variety of ways to create home pages. If you are the creative type and you wanna dive in and you wanna figure out how to create a Bitmoji homepage or a Google Slide homepage and you wanna do some image mapping and you want to get really creative with it, definitely we want you to use your creativity and have fun with it. If there's anything that can get you excited about Canvas and it's this, building out a homepage, go for it. Because we know in early childhood, we love our bulletin boards, we love our decorative elements in our classroom, and this is a way to personalize your Canvas course and make it your own. But if this is overwhelming to you, creating a homepage is just too much when you've got to go in there and build out your modules, you've got to get your lesson plans in there, you've got to build out your pages of content, then put the homepage option aside for just a little bit this summer, and you can do something more simple, more basic. There are basic ways of creating home pages. You don't have to use the Bitmojis, you don't have to use the Google Slides, you don't have to do any image mapping. You can create very simple, basic home pages. If you want to use canva.com and create graphics, you can. But if you just simply want to create a table and link it to some words on your homepage, you can do that. Home pages can look very different. They can be very complex. They can be very simple. But the main thing I wanted you to know is don't feel overwhelmed by it. And our department is going to try to create some templates of home pages for you to start with. So you don't even have to create your own if you don't want to. We haven't created those yet, but I have found a teacher who has shared some templates in our More Public Schools Commons, and I'm going to show that to you because she's done a great job, and she shared it. She shared a homepage template for everyone to use if they want to. But Like I mentioned earlier on home pages, you want to make sure you link it to the first item in your module. You want you to be aware when the students click the next button, it will move them on to the next thing in that module. And so you can control how far they advance through your module a variety of different ways. You can select a lock date, like I showed you when you edit the module name. You also have the ability to click a date that the module stays locked until. Or you can set prerequisites and requirements for a module, or you can simply leave it unpublished until you're ready for it to be visible to your students. They won't be able to click next and move on if that module is not published, or if it is locked, or if there are prerequisites and requirements they have not met yet. Also, when I was browsing through social media a few days ago, I found a teacher who suggested putting a stop sign page, a page with a stop sign with a graphic that links them back to their home page. They still see the little next button in the bottom right corner, but if they see that big stop sign, it might prevent them from clicking next. And if you have a graphic that links them back to their home page, that's an option too. So there's a variety of ways you can control how your students will navigate through that. So I'm going to go to homepage and I want to show you really quick how that can look. So let me share my screen with you again. And then we're going to go back. Okay, before I go, first I want to take you to that kindergarten demo. So you can see that homepage was graphics that I created on canva.com. Not Canvas, but Canva. And I just created those graphics very simply. I saved them, downloaded them to my computer, and then I uploaded them embedded image using that rich content editor, just like I showed you a few minutes ago when we were creating those quiz questions. I used the rich content editor. I embedded the images. Once I had the images in there, so I'm going to click edit so you can see how that looks. So here's my rich content editor. I put these as separate images, okay? So these are separate images I created just with a background color and white font. Then I click that particular image and I come over here to the right to link it to whatever was in that module. So I have to know what's the first thing in that module. If I want to link it to that particular Monday, I go to that particular Monday module and I look at it. That particular Monday was right here. The first thing is my Monday morning quiz. So that's what I would want to link it to. Remember, we don't link to headers. You can link to modules, but if you do that, the students see the whole modules page and they see all your modules that are published, and that might be overwhelming to them. Now your upper elementary, 3rd through 6th, that might not be a problem. They might understand modules just fine. But for your younger kiddos, this might be too much for them to see. They may not need to see your modules, so you would just simply link them to the first thing. So Monday morning quiz was the first thing. So let me go back to home so you can see that I'm going to click edit again. So each week you would want to go in and re-link Monday to the correct Monday module for that Monday. So I would click it and I would come over here. That was a quiz that I wanted to link it to, and it was Monday morning quiz for that week. So I would click that page or that quiz and it would link it to it. And then I click save, and I could do that for Tuesday. I would figure out what's the first item in that one and link Tuesday to it. So when we go in student view, let me show you how that looks. We're going to click home. We're going to click student view. So you can see I'm going to click Monday. And here is that Monday morning quiz. And when I scroll down, I have the little next button that takes the student on to the next activity in that module. So this is how, whether it's an assignment, a quiz. Now, if it's a quiz, they'll want to complete the quiz. If it's an assignment, they'll want to submit an answer for the assignment. But if it's just a page, there won't be any option for them to submit. Like this is an assignment, they would have to click submit assignment, and you would model that for them on how to submit an assignment. And by the way, when you go in as student view, you can practice submitting assignments and completing quizzes and see how it feels as a student to do all of those things. So wanted you to see that. And you know, again, if you have the modules published and you don't have a way to kind of prevent them from moving on, they will be able to just keep clicking next, and they'll just be able to keep moving on. So you want to find a way to kind of prevent them from continuing on, either by putting a page that says stop here, go back to home, you're finished for the day, you know, whatever you want to do at that point. But like here is Monday's math lesson, and here's Monday's science video. And look, there's no next button here. The reason why there's no next button is I think it's because I don't have the module published for Tuesday. So let me leave student view. Let's go check and see. To modules and Tuesday, let's see. Yeah, I don't have that module published, so they couldn't move on. So that was the way that I prevented them from doing that. But there's a variety of ways to prevent them from moving on to the next module. If you want to control, you can set a lock date. Remember I told you click those 3 dots, click edit. You can set a lock date. You can add prerequisites. You can add requirements. There's certain ways to control how your students can move on or not. I simply just left it unpublished until it's time. That day I would go in that morning and publish it. The kids could access it. But it's up to you how you would like to do that. Now, I covered briefly over some topics. If you've already attended our Canvas trainings, then you probably know what I'm talking about a little bit. If you've never attended a Canvas training, this might have been super overwhelming and confusing for you, and I'm sorry. I hope this helped a little bit. Basically, I wanted you guys to see how to create templates in your modules, how to set up your lesson plans, really. You've got to dive in and learn as much as you can about that rich content editor so you can learn how to build out pages, learn how to build out assignments and quizzes also. But don't feel overwhelmed. Not every assignment and every assessment has to be put into Canvas right now. Really, we want you to build out your pages of content that you're going to be teaching from when you're standing in front of the room teaching from your smartboard. That's the main focus I think you need to focus on right now. And then start building out maybe 1 assignment a week or 1 quiz a week that they can complete in Canvas, either by using the iPads, maybe set it up as a station that they go to, or when you go to the computer lab, you know, have them all complete a quiz all at once. You can decide how you want to do that, but please don't feel overwhelmed. We're all figuring this out together, and we're going to fumble through it a little bit. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to start something and think, oh, I've got it all figured out. And then we're going to realize later, oh, wait a minute, I've got to go back and change it. We might decide a daily module isn't going to work later and say, never mind, we got to set up a weekly module. But the nice thing about your modules is you can copy and move things from one place to another. You can move an assignment from one module to another. You know, and what we build out is going to stay there in our master course that we're building, or in our practice or sandbox course. It's going to stay there, and we're going to be able to use it from year to year to year. So this year is going to be tough, but I think once we get past this year, next year is going to be so much better. And even if we never have to do distance learning, at least we will have all of this saved here, and parents will be able to see what we're working on each day with their students. And maybe it will help our parents follow along and support that learning in that home environment as well. So I hope this helped a little bit. I wish I had a lot more time to share with you guys, but I just briefly covered, you know, some topics and concepts. I'm going to let you guys unmute your mics if you guys want to ask a question or add anything. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to share first. Hold on. Let me share my screen with you. One more thing I wanted to show you in the comments. I almost forgot. So we were talking about home pages. And I wanted to tell you, one of our teachers in our district created a homepage template, and she shared it in the comments. And I was talking with Andre McConnell yesterday and the rest of the EdTech team, and we were talking about how it would be wonderful if other teachers in the district wanted to create some templates for homepages or templates for modules if they wanted to. And so I just wanted to show you in the comments, which let me go back and show you how I got there. It's on the left side of your global navigation menu. Click Commons, okay? Then I went up here to the filter in the top right corner, and I'm going to filter and choose more public schools. But you don't have to. You can go and look at templates from other teachers all over the country. But in our More Public School, and now I'm going to click Templates, I discovered one of our kindergarten teachers in our district, Ms. Holland, has shared some of her templates. So when I click on it, I can preview and see she has a homepage template that she built out. She's willing to share that with you guys. If you wanted to import that and tweak it and modify it and edit it and make it your own, you could. She has put that in the More Public Schools Commons for you guys. So how wonderful. Thank you, Miss Holland. You're so awesome. She put a lot of work in, and she built out some different pages, like the homepage. She built out some different pages for each day of the week. Like she has kind of an index or a landing page for each day that you could link those specific activities to, those specific that are part of your modules, to those specific links. She has built out some other graphics. She shared some of the graphics that she's created over here too. So some of her graphics are like the welcome sign or the little owl. You know, she's got a lot of little graphics in here that she has built out that she shared with everyone too. So I wanted you to see how to go to the Commons and then use that filter. And you don't have to just search More Public Schools. You can search all of them, but even within our district, our teachers. Now these are from last year. We have our junior highs that have started sharing some templates, but I was so excited to see that Miss Holland, our kindergarten teacher in our district, has started sharing too. So if you guys create stuff and you want to share it to the Commons for your other teachers to use. Our department, when we have some time to actually sit down and build some stuff and share it out, we're going to share it with you guys. We'll be sharing those kindergarten demo graphics with you soon. When I was talking with our EdTech team yesterday, Andre said that is going to be in the Commons very soon. I shared all of those graphics with him that I had created in canva.com. He has a folder that he's going to be uploading to the Commons, so you guys can have access to those graphics. Anyway, that was one of the things I forgot. I wanted to show you that. Okay, so if you guys want to unmute yourselves, if you have a question. Oh, I need to share the form with you. I'm going to put that in the chat. So sorry I ran long, you guys. I hope nobody had to leave without filling out their survey first. Let me share this with everyone. Put that in here. Okay, there's the link. It's in the chat. Click that so you can get your PD point. You won't get it right away. Our secretary will probably email it to you sometime in the next week or two, but at least she'll have a record of you from that Microsoft form link. Okay, so click that link so you can get credit for that. And you guys,
Hey, Emily.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was one question that I knew that you were working on that I didn't have an answer for yet. What have you found out about the smart board files? Have you found an answer for that, or are we still researching that?
So far, everything that I've discovered is it will work in your classroom, but when the students try to access it from home, even if you link out to your learning suite, they're not necessarily able to access it from home. But I'm still playing, and if you guys find some other ways, let me know, okay? But we're still experimenting. I haven't got to spend a lot of time on it just because we've been spending so much time training. But that's my goal this summer, is to dive in and see what I can do.
Monica, if you'll email me, Monica, then I'll put that on my to-do list as well, and I'll get with Emily and we'll try to do some more research.
Thank you, Michelle.
I think that came from Monica. I think that was her question.
Okay, good question, Monica. And I'm sorry I haven't had the time to figure that out faster. I kept saying, oh, I'll do it this summer. Well, here we are halfway through summer, and I've spent most of summer training, and I haven't had time to go in and do the things I said I was going to do. So
okay, one more, Emily. Are you doing another Seesaw training? I couldn't remember.
Yes, there is another Seesaw training. Let me look at the calendar really quick. July 28th. And I'll offer some more later on when school starts, but for this summer, the next one is on July 28th.
And they can access that through the calendar where they, okay.
That EdTech calendar, and I put a link to my Zoom meeting space. It will be through Zoom. I wish we could do some in-person ones, you guys. We've been asking, but they had to sanitize the schools, and we thought we were going to get to do some, and then they told us no. So, sorry.
So you guys are welcome to unmute yourself if you have some questions now, or if you fill out, I'm assuming, Emily, if they fill out that form, they can leave if they need to leave, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry I ran long, you guys. I tend to ramble.
Or you're still welcome to type it in the chat, and I'll ask Emily if you want me to.
Perfect, Michelle. Was there anything you wanted to add, Michelle, that maybe, I know there's a lot I didn't cover, but.
Well, I mean, guys, you just have to know that it doesn't have to be so specific. Like when Emily was showing you how to submit something, you can have your assignments in your Wonders or in your Seesaw and just have those links and those directions and those instructions right there, and then still just go do your stuff in Seesaw and go do your stuff in Wonders. So don't feel like that you have to create everything here in Canvas. Also, that quiz that she created will be there now forever. So you have that rhyming quiz that you now can use from year to year. And then the next year you create a few more. And then after a couple of years, you guys will have a huge, resources of tons of quizzes that you have forever. So it's not going to obviously be something that you can do all this year. You're just going to build and build and build.
That's right. And every question you create in a quiz gets saved into a question bank. So you can actually, if you wanted to create little mini assessments and then later on create more of a summative assessment, you can pull some of those existing questions that you've already built out and put them into your other assessment later.
I learned that was really cool. You have questions, you can create new quizzes every week, just different from different question banks. It's really cool. Emily, since your background is the library and you have a lot of you kind of know that copyright, can you talk to them about that paid thing again from Teacher Pay Teachers or something like that real quick? There was a couple questions about that.
Yes, that's a very good question. So if you purchase something, whether it's Teacher Pay Teacher or some other product that you purchase just for your own teacher use, you can use it inside your Canvas classes, with your students, but you cannot share it to the Moore Public Schools Commons if it was something you bought a single use for, one single teacher use. Now, anything that was purchased by our district, like our district textbooks, our district curriculum, anything that was purchased by the district, you can share those assignments and quizzes and things that you use into the Moore Public Schools Commons because it's been paid for many teachers to use. So you just have to be careful. If it's something you bought on Teacher Pay Teacher just for you to use as a teacher, you can use it in your Canvas course. You can put it inside because that's a closed course that only your students see, and that qualifies for fair use. You're using it to teach your students, but you just can't share it out there in the Commons for hundreds of other teachers to use when you only purchased it for one teacher to use. Does that make sense? But if it's a district purchased thing, yeah, you can share it in the Commons. Even past purchased items, that we've purchased.
Yeah, if you have something from an old textbook adoption or some resources that you have that are still out there from a DIS that we purchased 10 years ago, you can use that. That's something that we purchased as a district and you're welcome to use that. But I wasn't sure of the wording with buying something on like Teacher Pay Teachers or something.
Yeah. So I see that Jay asked a question about vocabulary. I don't think every school has vocabulary, so you might not be able to share that in our Moore Public Schools Commons, but you can send a activity or assignment, quiz, page, module. You can't send a whole module, but you can send something you've created to another teacher at your school. So you just next to that item, those three dots, and you click those three dots and you go send to, and you can send it to someone else. So you can share it with someone at your school or your team, or, your teammates, more than one person. But I don't think every school has vocabulary.
Yeah, but I think you're absolutely right. As long as it's within, if it's a site purchase and you're just sharing with someone at your site, you would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with
that.
Yeah. Emily, I know you're recording this. Can they get a copy of it somehow?
Yes, someday when I actually have some time to sit down. I keep telling everyone I'm going to upload these recordings. I just haven't had the time to sit down and edit them. I have to actually kind of edit them and trim them down, and then I will put them in our Canvas training course, maybe on our website too. That's my goal to do next week. I hope I'll get to it. I'm going to try my best. I'm sorry, you guys. We have the best intentions, and I think I'll have time to do things, and then, but I plan on it. That's why I intentionally recorded them. I plan to. I'll try as soon as I can. Okay.
I had a question.
Sure.
My question, I'm a special ed teacher and I do self-contained multi-handicap. So Is there going to be do I need to attend the one for tomorrow since I do K through 6? Or is it going to be similar, the meetings? Or do I need to attend all of them?
I would say we were talking about this yesterday as a team, weren't we, Michelle? Our team is trying to put together some special ed focused training. We're working with the special ed department and reaching out to a lot of our professionals in our social media communities to figure out what the best way is to approach that for the various scenarios for special ed, because some are self-contained, some are pushing into classes, some are pulling out of classes. So many different scenarios. We're trying to put together a focused training for special ed. So my answer to you is, I think there's going to be a training coming soon for you. But if you want to attend the other trainings, you can, just to kind of get another overview. I don't know exactly what Andre is covering tomorrow in the upper elementary training. I would suspect he will talk a little bit about that rich content editor and building out assignments and quizzes and things of that nature. But he's conducting that training, and I'm not sure yet what he's doing in it, so I can't really answer your question.
I can also talk to that, Angela. I was working with Amanda Bowers. Is it Amanda Bowers that's in?
Yes.
Westwood? And I was helping her. She was going to try to build out some stuff with her your guys' unique is it? And so you might reach out to her, because I've talked to her and she's asked, I feel like she's building out some resources for you guys and some blueprints to help you with that. So you may email her and see where she's at on that, because I feel like that she's on top of it and working on it. So you may just reach out to her, because I before we left for the summer, she was working pretty hard on that, and her and who else was doing? I've got so many names.
Tara Underwood.
Tara, but I think Tara was speech, and then Gyla. Was talking to Gyla about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you may reach out to them, and they may have some really good resources coming down the way for you guys as well.
Yeah.
So,
all right, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working on it, and that's a big message I hope you guys got from all of this. We are trying to work on it with other districts, with departments. We're all trying to figure out the best ways. We don't have solid, definitive answers for you right now, but we're going to just go with it. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to try to figure this out as we go. And as well as a lot of other districts across the state. You guys we're not the only ones that are doing this, and some of them haven't even started training yet. So you might have some teachers from other districts who start their training in July, and they might be reaching out to you, and we might just all have to bounce ideas off each other and find solutions that work really well for an elementary perspective. But I know that's not a great thing to hear. We don't have it totally figured out, but we're trying.
well, and I will say, Emily, the elementary teachers are the most awesomest ever, and we know you guys are creative and innovative. I was an elementary teacher for 18 years, and so we're trying to give you the basics, but we want you guys to just take it and follow the guidelines of what is expected, but make it your own. And the best way we learn and we share with each other. So I think you guys are going to rock it out of I'm not worried about it at all.
Oh, I'm already excited seeing what people have been doing. It's amazing. I'm just blown away by you guys.
So don't be shy to share, because we want to see what everybody is creating out there. So please share.
Okay.
Question.
Go ahead.
When we link from our homepage, we're going to have to just change that links weekly, or that's something that we're going to have to manually do. So, okay, just
like, if you were sitting down with your paper plan book in front of you and you've got to flip and then you got to go make your copies for that day, what you might do, and just part of your routine is beginning of that week, hopefully you've already built out your module for those days for that week. You'll just go in and you'll link to the first item in each one of those daily modules, Monday through Friday. And that will just have to be kind of part of your routine, just like you would go make your copies and stuff like that, And I know it's uncomfortable. We're not used to that. But if anybody has other ideas and ways that will make this more time efficient and effective for you, share those with us. Share that. I feel like we're probably going to find better ways of doing things as we go. And this is just something to start with, just something to get you started. I forgot to show you guys how to, you can hide a lot of those menu options for your students so they don't see the modules, they don't see the assignments menu options. But if you attended any of those Canvas trainings we've been holding all summer long, you've seen how to go into the navigation tab in your settings, and you can disable all those for the students. So that helps control what they see and don't see as well. I know that adds on a little bit more than to your question, Vicki, but yeah, basically that's something you would do each week, is go in and reconnect that particular graphic, that Monday graphic, to the first thing in the Monday module for that week.
I had one more question. So
Okay.
like I do the same thing pretty much. There's certain things we do the same every single day. Do I have to make a new module for each one of those?
Simply copy it. Just duplicate the stuff you do all the time. Duplicate it. Don't remake it every time. Just duplicate it and just put the date. You know, edit the date for that that particular. If you have an existing page in there, you can go in and pull that page in, duplicate that page, and reuse it. But make it a part of your module. Really, like you know how I was adding in the headers.
Yes.
Into my template, go ahead and put in some pages in there that you know you're going to reuse again and again in that module, in your template module. And then every time you duplicate that, it will duplicate that page with it, not just the headers. It'll duplicate that page in there. And then you can go into that page and you can go in and edit and modify it. And
like I've already got my morning meeting done. So I have 2 that they can choose from. And so I have them on pages, but I have them underneath my morning meeting. But I want to do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I think you
So
can.
I just need to duplicate that.
Yeah, just keep duplicating it and see how that flows. I think my gut feeling is yes. Just make that in your template, that page already nested in there, and then when you duplicate, it'll duplicate that.
Do I need to make a new module every week, or can I, like, if everything's pretty much the same except for like my unique stuff, let's say, and I need to change it every week, can I use that and just change in there and not have to make a new one every time?
I would say, Angela, you could make a template, a week template, and duplicate that for each week. And so then you could have a week 1, week 2, week 3, you know, and then whatever is slightly different in there, you've got it, you know, for each week, you've got that slight variance in there.
And you always want to make sure that you have in the back of your mind that this is also set up in case we all of a sudden do have to go home and start work from home, that they do see the dates and they can follow that really well. So you will have to kind of keep creating new modules because they need to know what week they're on, what date they're on. You kind of always, you know,
it's going to be my parents, my kids.
Right. Yeah. Of course it will be your parents, but you know, you want to set it up sort of like you're teaching from the classroom, but always in the back of your mind. At any moment, they could go home the next day and they could get on and they could easily see where they're at to start back up. Does that help?
Okay. Yes, I think that does. I'll go play with it again today.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead, Becky.
So this might be a silly question, but so when other early childhood teachers, like myself, well, I guess we all are you going to be teaching from your campus during class too? Like, I mean, when you do the calendar, you're gonna do the same calendar that's on the campus. Are you gonna, if you have a worksheet up, are you gonna go through your campus to do that too, so that they are all familiar with how to use it when they're at home?
Exactly. That is exactly what you want to do. You want to put everything that you normally teach with in your Canvas pages, nested in your module, however what order it is you're going to work through your day. And you're going to work through your day when you're teaching in the classroom with that up on your smartboard. Your Canvas is open and you're walking through how you're pulling up your tools, and the kids see you pulling up that worksheet as you're passing it out, you know, and so it's up on the board, or pulling through that calendar that you're opening up that calendar. You need to be doing it from Canvas every day. That way, if there's kiddos that got quarantined, or if for some reason we had to shut down and do distance learning, they are familiar with how you teach from your Canvas course each day.
Okay, that's what another reason I'm hoping that you can find an extension or whatever for Smartboard, because my calendar's on Smartboard. Are there any other interactive calendars available besides Smartboard?
If anybody has anything, let me know. I haven't found anything as awesome as those interactive ones that Smartboard has. You can build them out in OneNote. You can build them out in other platforms, but Smartboard, they're pretty cool in Smartboard. So we're going to work the best we can.
I know that Starfall has one that I use usually the first 2 months of school because it's so easy with my pre-K kids. So I'll probably do that the first couple of months, but after that I use one that's a little bit more, that has a lot more content to it. Yeah. So anyway.
You know, Becky, if this ever happens, if you're in the school and you're going and you're plugging away, it's great. But if it happens that we do have to do distance learning, there are obviously going to be a few things that aren't going to transfer over as well. So, you know, you just might have to have an alternative assignment for them if they're coming from home. We're hoping that's going to be not going to be the issue, you know, but you know, we want you to still use your wonderful, fabulous resources as you're teaching. If we have to do distance learning again, if you have the few students that are at home, they may have to have a little bit of a tweaked assignment, obviously, but please continue to use all the resources you can while you're teaching from your classroom.
Yeah, because in your classroom, you have Smart Notebook on your computer, your teacher computer. So you can still put that Smart Notebook file in your Canvas course page, you know, in your page that you're teaching from. And when you're in the classroom, it will load because you have Smart program on your computer.
Right.
It's just when the kids are at home, they may not be able to load that file. They may not get access to your Learning Suite. We're still experimenting with that, by the way, the Learning Suite, the online versions of everything. But as a modification for that, like I just took a snippet of a calendar page that I had gotten off Teacher Pay Teacher, you know, and I just put that image in there. And so the kids would have a calendar to look at and then, you know, ask them what's today, or here's a link to a video of the days of the week song or the months of the year song or whatever, you know, and you can embed those YouTube videos in there. And I didn't even touch on that, how you guys do all those things, but those are in those basic Canvas training courses, how to embed YouTube videos, how to, you know, incorporate that into your pages. But yes, we want you to use Smart Notebook while you're in the classroom because you already have those built out. You use them on a daily basis. We want you to continue to use the tools that work well for you. We just have to find some modifications just in case, you know, we've got to do that distance learning from home. Okay. That's a great question. And no questions are stupid questions, by the way, because it's the only way we're going to get this all figured out. We got to ask those questions, right? So you guys ask away, email us, you know, reach out to each other. If you find cool things, share it with us, please. And we'll get through it. It's just, I know it's overwhelming right now, but we're going to do our best to help you guys through it. We're going to do our best to figure it out. And like I said, we're in communication with other school districts too, other professionals across the country. We're all trying to figure it out together. And with everybody collaborating, I think it's going to be an amazing result once we get there. It's just the process, you know, it takes us out of our comfort zone a little bit, but we're going to get there. Okay.
Emily, this is Jennifer Hilger. I have a question. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Ask.
When you said, so I've got my homepage set up and I've got it linked like where it would go to the modules. And then you said, I tried the subheader, but it didn't work. So what was it that you said again? I should have written it down.
Oh, that's okay. So you want to know what to link your graphic to from your homepage, right?
Yeah, because I tried just the morning meeting page, but then it didn't flow with the rest of my Monday, let's say.
Okay. So you want to link it to the first item listed in your module, not your headers or your subheaders.
Okay.
But just like, for instance, like I'll share my screen with you real quick and we'll go back to that and I'll show you. Let me get to that page. Okay. Let me go back to my dashboard and I'm going to take you into that kindergarten demo and show you that homepage. So this is my homepage, right? But let me go show you modules first. Let me go into modules so we can see what Monday. So these are my templates, but let me get back to like Monday, May 18th.
Yeah.
So I have the name of my module, and then I have my first heading or subheading, whatever you want to call it. And then the first item is actually a quiz, Monday morning quiz. And it's just some questions I have about the calendar. You know, what's yesterday was, today was. So that's my first item that I have in that module. So I want to link to the first item. Then when the kids click next, it'll take them to the next item, and then the next item, and everything in that module. Now, if I had the next module published, they could actually click next, and it would keep taking them on to whatever module is listed below this module. But I don't have Tuesday published yet, so they can't move on to that one. But they will move through these items in order. They won't see the headings and the subheadings. And you can't, go ahead.
Oh, I was able to do that. And when I would go to the modules, it would actually do the next button. But when I linked it to, let's say it's morning meeting schedule August, because I'm just going to do one for each month. Mm-hmm. It just went like it went to that page, and not that it was connected to Monday, August 17th.
Huh. So is that page nested within a module?
Yes, and it's published.
Huh. I don't know, Jennifer. I'll have to dig into your account and look at that. That might be a separate circumstance. I'll see what I can find out, and I will email you on yours. So what was it called? August what?
So if we're on August 17th, 2020, week 1.
Okay.
Then the page is morning meeting schedule August. And like I said, if it goes to the actual module screen in student view and they clicked on the first thing that said Monday, it will go next through all of them. So that part is working.
Oh, are you linking to the module itself?
Well, that's where I'm confused, because that way, yes, I'm linking to the module itself, but it brings up the module page. But when I link to morning meeting, it's not connecting it to that module, so it's just bringing them to that page, and then there's no next button on the bottom.
Okay, I'll dig in and look and see why it's doing that when you're just linking to the page. I don't know why, but there might be something. I'll email you and see.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yeah, you guys feel free to ask us questions. If you're stumped, you're stuck, something's not working, we want you to ask us, because we don't want you to sit there and feeling frustrated and, we want you to ask questions. So don't apologize, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys through this process. And it helps us too, because we learn new things every day as we're finding, trying to figure out solutions to the various scenarios. So, okay.
Emily,
Yes.
This is Stacy Bright. I teach first grade.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. I created a Bitmoji homepage, and then I put on there buttons for Monday, Tuesday through Friday. Can I link those buttons to the Canvas page?
You should be able to, Stacy. There's a variety of ways that might work and might not work, because it depends on how you exported that page, that Bitmoji page. Did you export it as an image, a PDF, or is it a link to that actual slide? And there's various ways to do that. As a matter of fact, one of our EdTech team members, and I forgot to mention this to everybody earlier, I'm so sorry, Jim Lawson is working with one of our STEAM teachers in the district, and they're going to provide a training all about Bitmoji homepages and how to get them set up. But he has been researching a technique called image mapping, where even if you export it as an image, the whole page, you can actually map out certain sections that get linked to different areas. I haven't done that yet myself, so I can't give you that answer right now, Stacy, but I will tell you, email your question to Jim Lawson. He has been diving in this past week, learning all about image mapping. So for those of you that are developing, he's going to do the Bitmoji homepage training too. I believe it's going to be in July, sometime in July. They haven't put the date on the calendar yet, but it will be coming soon. But he's researching image mapping for you guys because he knows that there's been several questions on that, and I haven't had time to dive into it. And so he said, I'll do it. I'm going to find out how to do it, and he's going to offer some training on it for us.
Okay, so, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Also, I do read a picture book every day. So do I need to have a link to the picture book on YouTube if they're in
If
case
that
they are
author,
online?
yeah, if you could find that author reading their book, and that's wonderful. You might as well embed a video of that story so that your kids who are quarantined at home can hear the story as well.
Or
Okay.
Stacy, you could actually video yourself reading the book and put it on there too.
Okay.
You can, because only your students are going to see that. It's not like you're sharing it out there for everyone to see. So you are not violating copyright if you record a video of yourself reading it and just share it with your students.
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle, for adding to that. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else feel like they want to ask some questions? Can we use your paras to read books? I mean, I don't see why not. If they're okay with you recording them, reading, sure. Just get their permission. And you're just sharing it with your students in your class. You're not sharing it to the commons, so you're not violating copyright, if you're recording you or your para reading a book. Oh, somebody didn't receive their points. Okay, Becky, email Kim Ross. She is our EdTech secretary. She is handling all of that, emailing out the PD points and everything. Kim Ross. Okay. You're welcome. It's been a little bit confusing, but we're trying to get that Microsoft form fine-tuned so it makes it easy for her, and she just has a big long list and she sends you an attachment of the PD. It's like a picture of a certificate with your point, But yeah. Okay. Great. Any other questions? I don't mind if you guys want to ask them. All right. Thanks, you guys, for being patient with me. I know I ramble on sometimes. I sure wish I could have dove in, and I get mad because I forget some of the points I really want to emphasize, and I fly through, and before I know it, I've gone over my hour. So I'm sorry, but we'll get through it somehow. Let me know. Like I said, please email me if you have any questions. And
yeah, just email us. And Emily, that's what as they were going through, they had questions. I think I put my email, our email out there forever. But you guys got to dig in and think about it. And you may have a question come up in 3 days. So just email us. It's no big deal. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end the meeting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You are very welcome. You guys have a good summer.